Hi guys and welcome to Get Reviews and to this part 3 of the absurd powers of the Emperor of Mankind. As always, please check the link down below to the original video and support him, watch the video, all of those things that I always say. So guys, I'm sorry that I'm late, I just had to chase Goldie once again, so he is not the best today. So yeah, there's that. So we do have 13 more minutes to cover, actually almost 14, and there's gonna be probably a lot to discuss. So we have to get it. I hope that you can hear me all right because I'm using NVIDIA's stream something, and yeah, I hope that it's a bit quieter than usual. Hopefully. But I'm really sorry about Goldie, guys. I mean, if he hears someone next to the door, he's protecting. So yeah, let's continue here. Hi to everybody in the chat. Of course, my primarchs are all here. Awesomeness. So hi Matty, Clayton, and Ivy. Hi guys. Okay, continuing exactly from where we left off.
Without the need of the Emperor to blockade the Imperium like this, along with certain pieces of Necron tech doing the same, all psykers would have power on this level whilst they were in the universe. But as it stands, they only become this strong outside of his influence in the deeper parts of the warp. Obviously, within this fully realised level of power, speed barely applies
Thanks,
to the
Clayton.
Emperor
Hi,
at all,
Dark.
as the distance over time formula doesn't make any sense in the warp, or the Emperor's warp self, which lacks distance or time entirely. But how fast could we say he was if we wanted to handicap him by also having to fend off the forces of chaos and his partial separation of the warp from the universe as a whole? Well, when a normal space marine took hold of the Spear of Telesto, a weapon that held a tiny fraction of the power of Sanguinius, he was able to move so fast that lasers looked as if they were suspended in the air,
Wow.
making him at least thousands of times faster than light if we assume that they were actually moving so slowly that he couldn't tell that they were. But it could be even faster than this, of course. Ahriman, a chaos sorcerer of some power before he even became the powerhouse he was today, was fast enough to see the impact of defense lasers in only trillionth of a second, also putting him in this range of speed. Both of these feats were performed without the use of specific psyker powers that can vastly improve their user's speed as well. A young
Wow, I mean the Flash, you just get outrun, buddy. I mean that is insanely fast. I didn't know that such a thing was a thing in 40k, but apparently it is.
Strat, who was a psyker and Eldar farseer, was able to project himself tens of thousands of light years from the craft world on Ulthway to Macragge in only a few moments, also stopping time everywhere around him as he did so, which is a pretty casual feat for him and definitely something that the Emperor could replicate. Magnus also famously projected himself across the galaxy from Prospero to Terra in only a few moments, and was clearly able to wield his psychic powers even after doing this. Both of these feats are comparable and work out to at least 315 billion times the speed of light, and are extremely casually performed by two characters vastly weaker than even this weakened Emperor that we are talking about.
Jesus.
Mephiston, another human psyker, displayed the ability to use his psychic powers to shift beyond the run of time, granting him incredible speed to fight a pack of demons, and Ahriman was also immediately able to use his precognition and supernatural speed to avoid an attack that was already coming for him. Again, both things definitely applicable to the Emperor. I've talked several times already about the primarchs, the sons of the Emperor, and beings that were created and granted all of their powers by him. Additionally, Russ would refer to them as merely extensions of the Emperor and his power, and so all of the abilities that they possess should also be something that the Emperor is capable of. The most famous of these is Vulcan's nature as a perpetual, granting him virtually eternal life and extreme levels of regeneration and resurrection. Fully killing a perpetual is virtually impossible, and in fact 206 of the 500 facts for 500 stores, we were directly told that the Emperor is a perpetual and functionally immortal. Considering this is considered a special ability beyond even what is normally capable of psykers, it should be far greater than what can already be accomplished by them, and can even return someone who has died to life again. This isn't all too surprising, considering we've seen the Emperor grant others this immortality as well. For instance, the Guardian of the Void Dragon, who then passed it on to Dahlia, or the saints like Celestine that have been resurrected many times by his powers. Corvus Corax, another primarch, is considered to be at home with the shadows, and can meld or blend into shadows, as well as performing strange shadow-shaping abilities. Conrad Kurz can turn completely invisible if he wants to. Rogel Dawn was granted the power of supernatural persuasion, and Sanguinius was born with wings that allow him to fly. Alpharis can blend into crowds, slipping from notice, and impersonate others nearly perfectly, excluding Lionel Johnson's supernatural senses, who Alpharis thinks is the stealthiest of the three. Of course, Magnus and Lorgar also inherited their psyker powers from the Emperor, and Magnus seems to have a shape-changing ability that he inherited from the Emperor as well, that shouldn't be too different from the psyker abilities I talked about earlier. Jagatai Khan is supernaturally fast even compared to the other Primarchs, and can accelerate himself into a state called Alec Geth, a speed considered so fast that thought could kill, where distance between intention and action is made nothing, and where vengeance is a living thing with both extension and imminence.
Okay, that is all those powers are so freaking unique in how they're described that basically they do beat everything else from the other universes. Like, wow. I didn't know about how fast is the Khan. That's really unbelievable. Can't even imagine that, how that's gonna be like, because how is not, how is then, yeah, I wanted to say, how is not the Khan the best ever then, and how is not, Jesus, I don't know why this is so hard for me to formulate right now, but he can defeat anyone with that power if he uses it right, you know?
It's considered a perfect fighting style, scraping the boundaries of both the divine and the diabolic, and allowed the Khan to fight an entire warband of orcs, killing all of them without them even landing a single blow on him.
Yeah, exactly what I meant, actually, exactly what I was imagining. Hi, 30. A perpetual sacrificed herself to bring back Malvador to life. I don't care. Things dark, that's not on the topic, but yeah, I know about that.
Gilliman presumably inherited being a giant nerd from the Emperor or something, and Perturabo is uniquely gifted when it comes to creating technology or architecture. The Primarch Sickle Rick can absorb the energy or life force from things, empowering himself in the process, and on one occasion was seen even absorbing the physical attacks of others, rendering them completely impotent against him. And Angron has a special empathic ability, allowing him to feel the emotion and pain of others, as well as absorbing or displacing it, which he used to help someone who was gravely injured. Fulgrim is just super pretty, I guess. I don't really know what his deal is. Same with Horus. He presumably has some kind of special ability, but it's unclear what it is.
He's super
Of course, the
pretty.
Emperor isn't just strength and power. He is incredibly devious and intelligent as well. From his creation of Thunder Warriors and Space Marines, master creations of technology and biological manipulation, to the creation of the Imperial Webway, an outerversal structure that would have been used to safely traverse the universe and the warp. Also, the creation of the Astronomicon and various other pieces of tech that would not be improved upon by Imperial scientists for 10,000 years or more. Even regular space marines can look at an Auspex scanner and understand in moments the details of an entire planetary invasion, down to minute details, and the Emperor is effectively the smartest human to have ever lived without a doubt. Jarician, the master of the Forge of the Black Templars, was able to crack into a code more complex than mapping every particle within a star in only a week, which he did with his own brain. something that would take the combined efforts of every single computer in the world today beyond trillions of years to compute. Along with his 48,000 years of experience, the Emperor is doubtless a super genius of extreme proportions and an expert in practically every field imaginable.
Yeah, and he still failed on his mission. But that we're going to discuss when we get to Luton's video and his analysis on the Emperor. But like I've said in the previous stream, we, me and Luton actually reached the same conclusions about the Emperor. And I was very happy that I'm not the only one who thinks all of those things about the Emperor. And he has an amazing way to explain everything. So that's gonna be amazing to listen to and to further analyze, guys. Uh, but yeah, he is not as OP in terms of wisdom and intelligence as it seems, or if he is, that's perfect. But then you have the quality of extreme uh, ego, and that is what can defeat any type of intelligence. I mean, if you have ego that's not objective, or if you have just ego that prevails over your any kind of a wisdom. I mean, wisdom is rendered useless basically if you have a big ego. If you just think that you can do absolutely everything and you cannot be wrong and all of that, you're just setting yourself for failure. So there's that. But yeah, we're going to get to that when we started. I don't know what's happening to me. Maybe it's because it's the third stream. But yeah, the point is, when we get to Luton and how he explained it at the beginning, it was just amazing. I have no words for that. But okay, continuing.
The Emperor also has some special equipment created by himself that grants him certain abilities. Most notable of these is his sword, often just referred to as the Sword of the Emperor.
Yep.
A famously powerful relic blade, the sword is bathed in psychic flames, and just drawing the sword fills those around it with the presence of the Emperor. It can permanently kill demons even through their avatars, which are otherwise immortal and reside outside the physical, within the warp, something I have talked about before in this video. If planted into the ground, it can produce a protective shield of warp energy, as well, that will destroy enemies that come near it. His armor, known as the One True Armor, is a master-crafted suit of Terminator armor, and was taken apart after his death, with a small piece being given to every Terminator. Even this small piece is sufficient to give them a protective holy field. There are even statements from Kaldor Drago for these small fragments having the potential to permanently kill demons, although it was never, as far as I know, actually done.
Wow, that's amazing. Just craft another one if you can, and get it to the custodies and to the other Terminators. Okay, wait a second, guys, to check your comments real quick. What if the Emperor is the evil twin of the Empress? Maybe. maybe. Fulgrim has power like poison ivy, super pheromones. Maybe. Well, if he didn't when he was a primarch, he certainly does when he is a demon. Yeah. Don't care. I'm still really confused about the Emperor because everyone says something different about him. Like, some say he cares about his sons, some say they were just tools. Well, I'm gonna answer that actually right away. Just go and see Luton's video, or just watch it when I do the analysis of that. Anyway, Luton deserves for that video to be fully watched, and I'm going to skip the beginning of it anyways, and just start from the meat of things. But basically, what he says there is that first, there's no such thing as canon in the 40k, really. That's something that the writers themselves are saying, because it's impossible to keep track of everything that ever happened in the 40k. And there's the other part where a lot of history is lost, like real humanity history in 40k. So even in the 40k universe, everything that's long gone, like for instance the 30k universe relative to the 40k, seems like myths and legends to that point. So that being said, it just means that a lot of things are open to interpretation. Now, Luton is going to look at this from the most objective point of view. From my point of view as well, it's extremely objective and analytical. And he basically does say that the sons, I mean, they are his sons when it's convenient. That is when he calls them this way, when he is talking to them directly. Other than that, they're just things, like literally things. He refers to the primarchs as it or something like that. So, people that are invested in 40K, they're not looking at everything. Of course, it's impossible to look at everything, but some people just judge things purely on emotional level, and they're like, "Oh no, I love the emperor. He can do so many things and he can do no wrong." And this is just objectively not true. I mean, when you look at all the evidence, at least like Luton said, we have all of the, I mean, some things that are more certain than others. Some things are just not set in stone at all. Some things are very open to interpretation. But judging by how everything is written, how a lot of times I'm repeating for you guys that you have to see this from the writer's perspective, otherwise you can never understand what's what. But so far, what we can say from the information that we have from all the novels and, horse heresy, all of that, it does seem that really the emperor did not love the primarchs like sons, but rather he does uses them as tools, and maybe they were meant to be discarded, just like his original Thunder Warriors. So that is how things look like. So if you have to lean towards one of the two directions, I would also say and agree with Luton that he definitely thought of them as things and a means to an end rather than his real sons. So yeah, that is also my conclusion, and it has been my conclusion for quite a while. But when he's talking to them personally, then he is basically manipulating them and being like, "Oh yeah, son this, son that, because I need you, son." I'm, I'm referencing how he interacted with Gilliman in the last book that I reviewed, and also in the newest book. So yeah, the Dark Imperium, the last book. So yeah, that's also my impression. But fans will act a lot on emotional level. They're not going to be objective about the emperor. I already talked about that a lot of times with different people that are very fanatical about the emperor. But that's kind of the point of 40K, to understand that the emperor is not without any mistakes. Like the total opposite, he did do a lot of those. And just like in Dune, because the two have some things in common, the message, it seems to be that you cannot put your blind faith in any leader, no matter how godlike they're looking like to you, because they're, in the end of the day, still human that do human mistakes. And it seems that, as well as in Dune, the message here for the Emperor is pretty much the same, just made in a different story, in different setting, but it looks that that's definitely the case. And of course, guys, for a lot more info and context, we have to watch that Luton video live. So, I can also comment on what Luton is saying, but it is the best possible analysis of the emperor, along with everything that I did already and the things that I wrote already said. So I already actually talked about all of that. I shared those conclusions with you guys, and then when I watched today this Luton video, I was like, that's also what I think. I mean, it's also just great to see that he's also reached those conclusions because he is just amazing in terms of how he explains everything, how much he knows, how he's so good in analyzing everything. Just in such an intelligent manner. It's amazing how he is able to deliver that as well. How he explains it. It's amazingly well put together, and it's extremely understandable. So that as well is something that just wow. Okay, continuing with this, guys, but also the point is that a lot of things are definitely open to interpretation, but when you gather what is more likely, what's more logical, more evidence to what can you find more evidence towards, it definitely looks like the emperor does not love the primarchs as sons, and he always meant for them to be just weapons for his plan. So yeah, and that is totally confirmed by Malkador. And I have to find that novel because Luton recommended a particular novel on Audible about the Emperor. It's a short story, so I gotta find it, gotta get that, and listen to it myself. Um, okay, let me just check what you guys are saying, then we're gonna continue. Yes, because the administratum and ecclesiarchy neglected noble art of historians. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, I guess. The way I see it, he lost his humanity to kill Horus. So when you talk to the amp now, everything is a thing at do. Before he killed Horus, he was a human with love and feelings and emotion. No, Matty, he wasn't. He wasn't. You're welcome, don't care. Okay, a lot of love towards your mom, you know. So yeah, Matty, he was that all along. So everything that Luton is going to talk about, everything that I already analyzed, is about the nature of the emperor. Is that when did he get anything? Although there is a part if he got more powerful when he talked to chaos, but that's another topic. That his nature, how he was, how he is, that's pretty much a constant. It's just that it seems when now he's talking to Gilliman in present day through the Golden Throne, he cannot keep that act anymore. So Gilliman was like, Father was so cold and doesn't seem the same, and he just saw the truth of his character. That is how that story was written when he got out of the room, all of that. So a lot of clues there, a lot of clues, a lot. Okay, continuing.
Presumably, his special lightning claw and mastercrafted stormbolter have their own unique qualities too, but they have yet to be revealed. And although he doesn't wield them personally, he did create two metaphysical blades. Leman Russ's weird Dionysian spear, which drained Horus of his chaos magic, and Valdor's Apollyon spear. On top of these are several powerful abilities used by the Primarch Magnus through his psyker powers that the Emperor should also be capable of using as well. For instance, Magnus was able to reduce his opponents to atoms, and his very presence is said to be anathema to logic.
Wow.
Even to look upon him is to surrender all sanity, and when he looks back, destruction manifests in great measure, and can transmute his enemies into mewling chaos spawn with ease. In another instance, Magnus was able to casually wipe out an entire battlefield with nothing but his breath, strangling everyone there to death. Wow. But what about the Emperor's unique abilities? Things that only he can do. Well, for starters, he made the entire Wordbearers Legion, that's 100,000 people, kneel with nothing but his presence. And on another occasion, psychically overpowered both Ahriman and Magnus, two of the strongest psychers to have ever lived, and a huge chunk of the Thousand Suns Legion, a legion of space marines that specialize in psyker powers, simultaneously. Although this isn't particularly impressive really, considering other weaker psykers have been able to take control of the minds of entire planets before. The Emperor's precognition, on the other hand, is so immense that he was able to anticipate an incredibly hyper-specific situation regarding the tech priest Belisarius' call that wouldn't happen for over 10,000 years.
Wow.
We've talked about him healing, resurrecting, or granting immortality to biological or conceptual entities, but the Emperor can also easily fully repair machinery as well. However, the ability that he seems to resort to the most against particularly tough opponents, or those that he would struggle to kill or may not want to kill for whatever reason, is sealing. Against Drachnian, an immensely powerful demonic entity that represents all murders, a being that the Emperor could not destroy because of its intimate connection to the history of humanity and his own past. Whilst it's possible that he could have simply destroyed a Dracnian, it would have irrevocably changed not only himself, but the entire human race, perhaps wiping them out entirely. It's also possible that as a being of living murder, attempting to murder Dracnian would only have made it more powerful. Instead, the Emperor transforms the demon into a sword and casts it into the warp, leaving it trapped there and sealed within the sword that he had just made.
That's great.
In a similar situation against the Void Dragon, the most powerful of the Catan, which are fundamental aspects of the universe incarnate that are nearly impossible to destroy, he threw the beast all the way from Earth to Mars, sealing it there to spur the technological revolution of the Cult of Machines. In this case, it's confirmed that he could have chosen to destroy the Void Dragon, however the repercussions for the rest of the universe could have been catastrophic, and by leaving it beneath Mars, he strengthened the Imperium of Man further thanks to the improvements in technology that it gave them. He can also summon an entire army of his dead servants, including the primarch Ferrus Manus, into a force known as the Legion of the Damned, a giant organization composed of the spirits of long-dead space marines. Even as a long-dead corpse, even though he had been sitting on the Golden Throne for 10,000 years, powering the Astronomicon which lights up the entire galaxy, and keeping a portal closed to Hell against the powers of 4 different gods, just choosing to speak, just deciding to say any words at all, completely erased the concept of time entirely from the universe whilst he was speaking. That is the casual mastery of time that the Emperor is capable of.
Which is nuts.
Anyway, that's it for the video. There were almost certainly powers that the Emperor has that I didn't talk about in this video because there's just such a massive volume of information to go through, but I've included as much as I could find in this video, and I think I got all of the interesting parts at the very least.
Yeah.
A big thank you to my friend Hashi,
Amazing.
who goes by Alfarius Omegon on Twitter. Go follow him and give him a look if you enjoyed the video. In any case, I will see you all in the next one.
Okay, so as I said, if you haven't seen the video, see it, please. Okay, conclusions. So we did mention this last time, but basically what is making an impression on me is that once again, yes, Magnus is really powerful. Everybody are really powerful. I mean, primarch, psykers, and the Emperor himself is the OP of the OOPs. But that's basically they're all too powerful for their own good, because then the writers are forgetting half of that and just writing what damn it, the mic, sorry, writing what is convenient rather than using what is written about the characters, so all of those powers could be utilized, but they're not. So that's kind of the bummer. You write somebody how they're so strong, and all of a sudden when they have to fight, it's oh, a sword hit, yes, okay, wounding, somebody's wounded, okay, sword. So that's kind of underwhelming and disappointing, to say the least, that half of the powers, not even half, I mean more than half, are just totally missing when you read about the battles, how they fought. They just swing the swords like no more warriors, and that's it. Basically, that is what I read so far. And yeah, Legion of the Damned is awesome, by the way. I thought to make a video about them, but I just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, Legion of the Damned, literally ghosts that appear and save the day, or at least to a point. And yeah, they're pretty cool. They were in the devastation of Baal, so that's the first time that I got face to face, not face to face, but reading that book, audiobook, so listening to it, that was pretty interesting. It's a portion that they cannot show up every time, only in certain situations, very dire situations, but they could have aided a lot of legions a lot of time. But I guess their energy is saving. I mean, they're in energy saving mode basically, because the emperor maybe gave them only particular amounts of energy that they can work with. So that's interesting. Yeah, and they cannot appear every time everywhere. Same for the saints probably. Okay, let's see your comments real quick before I finish. I bet he wished he had the power of time when he fought Horus. Uh, yeah, I mean, a lot of things could have defeated Horus if you think about it. Even when you think also that his sword can totally destroy demons, and he did use it to kill fully Horus, but we already talked about it, guys. So I gotta go and start with Hammer and Bolter review. So the newest episode, Hammer and Bolter, that was 40 LR this time. We have to make a review of that, and that's gonna be for tonight, guys. Sorry. For tomorrow, if I'm free, I'm gonna start with Luton and see where we are at. But once again, it's a very long video, and it's probably going to take me a few parts, but it's gonna be worth it because it's extremely amazing and it's worth breaking down and thinking about those things, because I do think that all of that information about the emperor, all of those conclusions should be out there, and maybe people will think a bit more, because it's fascinating and a lot of wrong impressions are out there about a lot of things. So I think that that video is extremely useful to get you thinking, get all the points across very well, and all those things, guys. So yeah, I think it's very amazing video, and it's a great opportunity for me to also, you know, use my own skills for that and break it down. So it's gonna be awesome, guys. Okay, going to be preparing for the other stream, finishing your comments. Thank you very much, dear Clayton. Thank you. Well, of course, don't care. I mean, they cannot appear everywhere because then, then there's not gonna be any balance at all. So, of course. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, like, share, subscribe, all those things, because that really helps. So, at least like and comment. That's gonna, even if you write ooga booga or just type a heart or something, it's gonna help with the YouTube algorithm, guys. So, have this in mind. Just very important. Otherwise, nobody is finding the videos. So, thank you guys. Till next time, let me get your reviews. If you like to support me, you know where. And yeah, until a little bit. Bye.